Man's best friend, their dog. When they're clean, you love them. When they're dirty, you don't want to touch them. Hi, I'm Abby Lathan, and I'm here to tell you about my internship at Dirty Dog Wash as a professional dog groomer. So my mentor was Nick Gillespie. He has been working at Dirty Dog Wash for 13 years, and he actually owns Dirty Dog Wash to this day and for the past 10 years. So does any of you guys have a dog? Have any of you guys taken your dog to Dirty Dog Wash? Well, Dirty Dog Wash is a local self-serving dog groomers on Main Street, Huntington Beach. And what this means is that you could simply come in with your dog and you could wash your dog for $15 to $18, and when you do the self-service, you could wash your dog and have all the product there for you. Dirty Dog Wash has been there for 17 years, and like I said before, it's been owned by Nick for 10 years. It is conveniently located right next to the beach, and this location helps them give lots of customers because lots of people like to take their dog to the dog beach throughout the day, and before coming home, they can just stop at their dog wash and rinse off their dog so the dog isn't all salty and like sandwatery and sandy when they come home. So that by their location, it helps them have a lot of customers. And I interned there for 11 hours. Yeah? So what I did at my internship, I learned how to schedule appointments, and what they do is simply go on the computer and type down the name of the dog, the type of dog it is, and what time they're available to go. And then once the dogs are finished, the dog groomer simply calls back the owner and tells them to come pick up their dog. I also learned how to properly groom a dog and use the right equipment, which I'll talk about later, and I learned the differences between the brushes on certain types of dog hair, which I'll also talk about later. And also a quick overview about pricing. As a dog groomer, you have to be able to know the price ranges for certain types of dogs. So if a dog is smaller, it's usually cheaper, around like $30 range. Compared to a bigger dog, it is more expensive. And this is because more product is being used on the dog, and it doesn't take as long to groom a smaller dog, so it's cheaper because it really shouldn't be really overpriced for a really tiny dog. And like I said before, the self-serving wash, it's around $15 to $20. Now I'll get into my process, which is how to groom a dog. Now, before you begin into the steps, you want to make sure you have all the materials, such as bathtub, scissors, nail clippers, towels, cotton balls, brushes, and shampoo and conditioner, and also this handy-dandy apron. And I'll be putting on the apron at this time. Now, here's a quick little overview about the timing it takes for grooming a dog, because honestly, grooming a dog takes quite a long time. When I was interning there, I usually watched 2 dogs, and that was about 4 hours in total. Each dog took about 2 hours. But the timing is always different for certain types of dogs based on like their hair. If like their hair takes longer to dry, and like cutting, and like if they have really thin hair and it's really obvious, so like the dog groomers have to take longer to cut their hair. Shampoo and conditioner takes around like 7 to 10 minutes mostly, and then brushing takes about 15, drying takes about 20, and then cutting takes about 15. But this all varies, basically like what I said about on the dog. Now, step 1 is gathering materials. So they want to make sure there's plenty of shampoo and conditioner before beginning to wash a dog, because they don't want to leave the dog in the tub. They want to make sure the brushes are clean, and if they are dirty, like they still have extra dog hair in it, they just easily just pluck it off into the trash can. They want to make sure there's enough cotton balls. They want to make sure the tub's all clean, because some previous dogs, when they water the dog, like they shed a lot. So if there is extra dog hair in the tub, they just simply hose it down, and that'll be clean. And then clean towels. At Dirty Dog Wash, there are washer and dryers in the back, so there's always a plentiful amount of clean towels. Once they have all the supplies, they are ready to wash a dog. So step 2 is putting the dog into the tub. They could either do this by lifting the dog up or using the stairs. Most of the time they lift up the dog, because most dogs aren't too heavy, but if they come upon a really heavy dog that they cannot simply lift into the tub, they use these portable stairs that they attach to the tub, and the dog simply walks up it. But like in this picture here, this like little chihuahua, they could simply just lift the dog up into the tub. Step 3 is washing. So first of all, they have to turn on the hose. It's just like a simple gardening hose, and they want to and they just wait for the water to warm up. They don't want the water to be too hot or too cold, because if it's too hot, they could burn the dog. If it's too cold, it'll be really discomforting for the dog. Now, before adding conditioner and shampoo, they get the dog completely wet, right after they're completely wet. So in this video, as you can see, one of the workers at Dirty Dog Wash is, so first of all, he's getting the dog all wet everywhere, and then once he applies the shampoo, he applies it on the back first, and then he scrubs deeply with his nails, getting it into the dog's skin cells, and doing this helps moisturize the skin cells so the dog won't have like dandruff. And then when cleaning around the face, they have to be really careful to avoid the eyes, so they usually stop right at the forehead so that they won't get anything closer. And they get the dog completely wet, and then sometimes the dog will shake. So that's why the workers most of the time wear aprons just to keep their clothes clean. And the amount of product varies on each dog, because if it's a really small Chihuahua or like the size of this dog here, not as much product will be needed as such as like a dog in the video. Now step 4 is drying. They do this in 2 ways, towel drying and blow dryer. So first of all, after washing the dog, they use a towel dry first so the dog won't be dripping wet and just helps dry the dog. But then afterwards, they use a blow dryer. So right here, this is one of the blow dryers. They mostly keep this in the back because it's very loud. So they're drying off the dog, just making sure the dog's not dripping wet. And then once the dog's like moderately dry, but of course the towel's not going to completely dry them, they use a blow dryer. So they hook them onto the table so the dog can't leave, and they just slowly just go everywhere around the dog's hair to get every single space all dry. And this is sometimes can be really difficult because most dogs don't like the loud sounds. One time I took my dog here during my internship, and my dog hated the blow dryer, so she couldn't do it for very long, like for 5 minutes, and then they had to take her out and then just keep towel drying her. So she wasn't as dry as to compare to a blow dryer. So in this picture here, this is a comparison between towel dry and blow dry. So this dog has very curly hair, and so the towel dry doesn't really do the job as well as this blow dry here, and you can see that the dog's hair is completely dry and all poofy. Now step 5 is brushing. So I learned the differences between the type of brushes and when to use them. So right here is a pin brush, and you use this pin brush for curly hair dogs because it gets better into the curls. Like in this picture, they are using the pin brush because this dog has very curly hair, so it helps detangle it. And if a dog has really short, thin hair, they use a bristle brush, like in this picture right here. So they brush out all the knots so that way it'd be easier when they're cutting the dog's hair. And they also use a de-shedding comb for thick-haired dogs. This just helps cut off a lot of the hair so the dog isn't really hot and has a really heavy coat on them. Now step 6 is shaving and cutting. So they use scissors and cordless electric clippers. First, they use scissors for hard-to-reach places such as like under the armpits and around the face and like around the butt area. And they use scissors around the face first, and to be careful, because if they use clippers, it's usually not the safest idea. And they don't cut too close to the skin because that could puncture them and result in bleeding and hurting the animal. And they cut in layers. So what that means is that they start from the top and then go towards the bottom. Just like when girls get their hair cut, they always start from the bottommost layer going to the top, because that helps make it even and look good, other than just like shaving like right across, because that won't look as even. So here is a video of the dog Thor getting cut. So right now he's using a cordless electric clippers for the paws, just getting like most of the long hair just out of there so it's easier for the dogs to walk on. He's using the scissors here around the butt and like the back legs just to, so yeah, he's doing that there. I don't know why I just said that. And then now he's using the razor just to make everything look even and for a quicker job. And then he always has to switch sides, and right here he's doing the stomach, just doing it really softly just to get all the little pieces, and then he has to switch sides. This dog was being very cooperative, and like he was obviously enjoying it. So once he finishes shaving and cutting, the final step is ear cleaning and nail trimming. So nail trimming is probably the hardest part of grooming a dog from what I've experienced, because dogs don't like this feeling because it tends to hurt them a lot. So, hold on. Alright, so for nail trimming, when I interned there, I had to hold on to this little chihuahua who was like struggling because she was not enjoying the nail clipping because it was hurting her. So I was holding on to her while my mentor was cutting the nails. Now, when they're cutting dogs' nails, they have to be very careful because they cannot past the blood vessel because that will result in bleeding. And the blood vessel begins right before the curve of their nail, like in this picture here. So they have to cut. Most of the time, they insert the nail right before the curve, and from there, they know that's a safe place to cut because it's not going to result in bleeding. And then for ear cleaning, it's a very simple process. They just use a cotton ball and the ear cleaning product. What they do is put a little bit of the product on the cotton ball and they just like swoop it in their ear really fast just to get the dirt out. But they can't go too deep because that could result in affecting the dog's hearing and like infections. Plus, it will keep the dog's ears all wet and moisturized, and that tends to bug the dogs, and that will result in dogs scratching at their ear, which can hurt the dogs and affect their hearing. So they want to avoid having the dogs be bothered, so that's why they just do it really fast and not too deep, and just to get the simple dirt out. So after trimming the nails and cleaning the ears, the dog's all finished, and you end up with one happy pup. And so, would I consider this as a future career? I don't think I would do this as a future career, but I would love to do this as a job for like maybe like for a job. But I would like to go into a career of veterinarian or like something animal related because before I found Dirty Dog Wash or before I found dog grooming as my internship, I was trying really hard to find a veterinarian and I wanted to work in that area. But I struggled with finding a mentor because lots of issues about insurance and like if I got hurt. So like they mostly said no to me. But so I would like to do something in the veterinary field as a career and keep working with animals, definitely. Overall, I really enjoyed my internship at Dirty Dog Wash. I loved working with animals. Whenever I went there, there was always a new animal I saw, so that was always great. And the people there were really friendly, and I got to know them. And they were really friendly, and I got to know them. And I would definitely and I definitely enjoyed having my internship. Thank you. That was my presentation. If you guys have any questions or would like to contact me, you can always reach me at my website. You could go to the contacts page, which is right here. And you could just shoot me an email and I would love to get back to you guys. And while you're on my website, you could check out my junior page and read all the things about Dirty Dog Wash and like some pictures and some of the work I did. And while you're on there, you could also check out my sophomore and freshman work if you're interested in looking at that. So thank you, and thank you for listening. Okay, this was so bad.